How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. This is my review of a black and white adventure film from 1933, the original classic King Kong. This movie was directed by Merian C. Cooper and Ernest B. Schoedsack, who also co directed the 1932 classic film The Most Dangerous Game, one of my personal favorite 30s movies. And if you haven't seen that movie, you should check out my review. I have a review of that movie on my channel. It's a great film. And yeah, the original black and white King Kong is great. Before there was CGI, before there was a guy, uh, in a suit, we had this stop motion animation black and white film with pretty much the bare bones story that we would later on see in the 2005 remake. Only this is, a bit shorter. No Jack Black. As much as I do enjoy that 2005 remake from Peter Jackson, I thought, and to this day, I still feel that Jack Black was miscast in the role of Carl Denham. But in this film, we have Robert Armstrong as Carl Denham, and Darrow. We have who plays Andero? Oh, that's right, Wray plays Andero. And in the role of uh, John Driscoll, we have Bruce Cabot. And so the story is pretty much the same story from that 2005 film with some differences. And the one of the big key differences is the look of the film. This is a much older movie, and it is of its time. The great takeaway that I get from this movie is that even though it is so old, it still really works. A lot of the same action sequences that we remember from that 2005 movie, it's in the 1933 original. We got the scene where they get to Skull Island, and we see the natives there. In this film, the natives look a little more uh, like real black people. In the 2005 remake, we definitely had some blackface going on. It was pretty obvious, and I think that was something that took people out of that movie. It definitely took me out of the movie upon watching it for the first time, and upon every single rewatch. But no, in this first original 1933 King Kong, the natives they got some real black folks to portray the natives, so it feels a little more authentic. So it has that going for it. Uh, as far as the acting in this movie goes, this does feel more like a B movie with some pretty good special effects for its time. But the performances in this movie aren't top notch. And if you've seen a lot of 30s movies, then you'll know what I'm talking about. So this feels more like a B movie in that regard. As much as I love this movie, there are a couple of critiques that I do have for it that hold it back from being a four-star masterpiece. Even though I'm sure that's sacrilege for a lot of film fans. Hear me out though. This movie is a fun movie. It's a good adventure movie. The overall plot is, we have these people that want to make a movie. Carl Denham, the director, wants to make a movie, so he brings this small little crew to this secluded island, this mysterious island that apparently nobody knows about, but he's found out about it. And he has an idea of what's on this island, so he charters a ship because he wants to film something that has never been caught in film before. And then they get to the island, and there's like prehistoric creatures on there. Of course, there's the natives, and then we find out that there's this, other creature that they kind of worship, and then we later on meet Kong, and pretty soon we see that the natives need a sacrifice, and the natives eventually get to Ann Darrow because they spot the one white woman in the group, and that classic scene with Ann Darrow's character kind of tied up and waiting for Kong to approach. It's a very, very cool scene. Even in the original, there is a little bit of excitement. This is a black and white movie, so it's going to feel more like an adventure movie. And, because it is an old film, I don't see this movie scaring anybody unless you go back to 1933. I'm sure back then people were, filled with suspense in the moments with Kong, and I'm sure there was some people that were scared at that time. It's not going to scare anybody nowadays, but nowadays it's just fun to watch. It's fun to watch for the story. You got, like I said, the set pieces are all there. Some nice action, dinosaur action. You got Kong fighting a T-Rex. You got him fighting a few creatures in this movie, and this movie is like a good hour and 40 something minutes, I think, or at least almost 2 hours, I think. And there's a lot in this movie. It's filled with so much in terms of like adventure, and you do get to spend some time with our characters, but we get to see our characters in peril quite a bit, and so there really isn't that much um, moments in the film where it slows down. It's kind of always moving, and that's what's really impressive to me about this movie. It is such an old movie, but the pace of the film, the structure of the film, the screenplay, all of that stuff is grade A, tip top. Uh, Again, if there's anything that holds this film back, I know this is a classic golden oldie of a film, and many people love this movie and they consider it cinema gold, as do I. But that doesn't mean that there aren't a couple of flaws in the film. Again, the acting. I'm sorry to have to single out somebody, but Bruce Cabot as John Driscoll, maybe they didn't give him the best dialogue. His character does come across as kind of a jerk. That doesn't do with the acting, but some of his line delivery is not too great, unfortunately. But I mean, it still works for the film. It doesn't take you out of the movie too much. It just gives the movie this kind of B movie feel. That's all. And something else that does kind of hold this back for me: constant screaming. The moment that the character of Ann Darrow, played by Wray, begins to scream, the moment she sees Kong, the screaming almost never ends, and you're gonna hear it all throughout the movie, especially in the scenes where, his big ass hand picks her up. Yeah, she's always screaming, and so her screaming can get kind of annoying. And I've sat through a lot of horror movies with a lot of screaming. All that screaming aside, I think that Fay Wray does a really good job in the role of Ann Darrow, because when we meet her character for the first time, we do feel a little bit sorry for her because she seems like this very eager and naive person that takes this job, this acting job, when she meets Carl Denham for the first time, and we see that she is this actress that just kind of wants to work, but we don't. She doesn't know what she's in store for, and as the audience, we kind of have an idea of what's in store for her, and we know that she's basically going to be a victim later on, and so she's kind of a tragic character in that way. At the same time, you don't feel too sorry for her because you kind of know Kong has this thing for her, and he doesn't want to. He always holds her in a way that he doesn't want her to get hurt, and so you understand that he kind of cares about her, and so even though she's like constantly screaming and it's annoying, we have a feeling that she might be okay because we see that Kong is very overprotective of her. The third act of this movie is tons of fun and very exciting, with Kong being captured by Carl Denham and his group and being brought to America from Skull Island by ship, and then they show him on display in front of the people of New York City in chains, and they call him Kong, the eighth wonder of the world. Except Kong doesn't enjoy being a show for the people of New York. He'd much rather be free, and so he does eventually break through those chains and goes on a rampage. And it's really fun to watch, even in a black and white movie. The special effects still are serviceable for these scenes because we get to see Kong smashing things. We get to see him stepping on people. Get to see him eating somebody. He messes with the subway. The iconic scene where he grabs Ann Darrow and takes her up the Empire State Building. This is a very entertaining creature feature with special effects that were groundbreaking for its time. This is definitely a landmark 1930s movie. Yeah, the performances aren't Oscar caliber, but that's not why you go to a monster movie. The performances do work and are. This is a very entertaining creature feature with special effects that were groundbreaking for its time. This is a landmark film from the 1930s. Yeah, the acting in the film isn't Oscar caliber, but this is a monster movie. So you don't go to these kind of movies for, Oscar caliber acting. You go to these movies to see the monster fights and to see the monsters terrorize the humans. And if that's what you come to a monster movie to see, then you get that with this 1933 King Kong. Even though this is a black and white movie, this is still tons of fun, and I very much recommend you check this out if you're into monster movies or classic movies or into 30s movies, or if you want to check out early stop motion animation. The stop motion animation in this movie is groundbreaking for its time. This is a bona fide classic. This is a timeless gem. This is a time capsule. This is a masterpiece. And yes, I do give this movie 3 stars. But in my opinion, this is the greatest 3-star movie of all time. I think this is the greatest B movie of all time. And this movie gets away with so much because of the artistry and the craftsmanship in the effects. And, overall, we come to see King Kong to just be King Kong and terrorize the hell out of the people on the island. And you get that from this movie. You enjoy the remakes, that's fine. If you enjoy the newer stuff, that's okay. But I'm telling you, if you enjoy that overall story, it's all here in this original film. So you should give this one a go and check it out. 1933's King Kong. It is a classic. This is definitely a movie that you can find on streaming. I've come across this movie on Peacock, but I'm always saying hard copies are out there. This is my copy of King Kong, as you can see there. We got the big ape there, front and center, and we got some people here at the bottom. Looks like Andero here, played by Wray. I want to thank everybody who watched this classic movie review. I very much appreciate it. And those of you that are into classic films, if you're into this kind of thing, and if you want to watch more classic movie reviews, hit that bell and subscribe, and I'll be uploading more classic movie reviews like this very, very soon. And please don't forget to comment, share, like, and look out for the next review. Take care of each other, and have a great 4th of July. Peace out.